Today, we're going to be taking a look at the new PvP changes coming on January 10th. So that's very, very soon. And this seems to be a lot of big changes that could be pretty impactful for gameplay wise. So what do we got at the top? The Hunt's damage over time effect no longer deals an additional tick on application. Damage dealt over the total duration remains unchanged. Vengeance, no, we don't really care about that. Feral got a 3% damage buff. Devastation Voker does not apply to PvP. Okay, we don't care about that. Lay Waste increases damage. Okay, so Lay Waste buff. Eternity Surge, Firestorm buff. Infinity generates 2 on crit, was 1. Okay, increased crit damage. So it looks like a buff overall for Devastation Evoker. Survival Hunter, all damage and pet damage increased by 2%. Butchery and Carve increased by 10%. Fury increased by 10. Okay, now they're buffing Survival Hunter. Flame Strike damage and Living Bomb for fire. I don't know if that really matters. Whoa. Frost Mage. Frostbolt damage increased by 20%. Ray of Frost by 40. And Glacial Spike? I've seen some dirty Glacial Spike damage in Arena. I don't know. That's a little scary. Imagine having one of those free casting. Brewmaster, we don't care. Mistweaver, 5% increased healing. Viv, healing increased by additional 5. Then it looks like they're buffing the damage of Mistweaver too. Oh, wait. That's kind of nuts. Because you have the Fistweave spec. I already felt like the Fistweave spec did too much damage. And now they're increasing it, which means the healing output of it's going to be better too. Ret, Crusader Strike damage increased by 40%. Blade of Justice, 25. Final Reckoning. And Shield of Vengeance cooldown reduced. Their survivability isn't where we like it. Oh boy. I hope they have some nerfs for Ret and PvP. That might be a little too much. I don't know. I feel like Ret's already pretty bursty. Holy all healing increased by 3%. Focused Will for Shadow provides 10% damage reduction for Shadow, down from 15. Oh wow. So nerfing the damage reduction for Shadow. Mind Blast damage increased by 15. Mind Flay damage. Mind Spec damage increased. Void Torrent and Devouring Plague. They're aimed at improving Shadow's single target. Change to Focus Will is a targeted change for PvP to reduce Shadow's survivability. They felt like Shadow was surviving too much. I don't know. I'm trying to think back. Do we feel like Shadow Priests were surviving a little too long? I don't know. They got kind of chopped by melee cleaves. I think Shadow Priests get destroyed. Okay, one little outlaw change. Reduce bonus to Blade Fury damage per point. Oh, that's probably just PvE. Affliction, here we go, the juicy stuff. Agony increased by 5%, Corruption by 5%, Drain Soul by 10%, Pandemic Invocation 20%, Seed of Corruption increase, Shadow Bolt by 10, Siphon Life. I mean, no one's gonna use that still. This looks like a big one. UA backlash damage is no longer increased from increased damage dealt modifiers or effects that increase the UA damage. Ooh, damn. So us playing the UA build, we would play that to increase the backlash damage on the UA dispel, but now it's not going to be affected by that. We could see other builds become viable, but I feel like that build is still pretty decent. There's not many other good viable options. It's still impossible to cast Haunt, so I really don't want to go the Haunt route. But maybe the Dark Lair could see some play potentially. We are getting buffs on 2 of our dots, which is nice. And the Drain Soul, so we'll have a little bit of extra single target damage. Could be good. Channel Demon Fire increase for Destro. Rain of Fire 15%. Soulfire. I haven't used Soulfire in my builds. Infernal Blasphemy damage increase. Okay. Conflag increase. This is not PvP. Okay, so Conflag, Immolate, Incinerate increased, but only PvE. Demon Hunter. Soul Rending Leech bonus reduced by 40% in PvP. Thank God. This is good. All right, they're addressing Demon Hunters being too tanky. Demon Hunter was the issue. Like, I didn't care about Shadow Priest survivability. I don't feel like that was too hard. They were definitely killable. Glimpse PvP talent damage reduction reduced to 35%, was 75. Whoa. Essence breaks damage bonus for crit, Chaos Strike, and Blade Dance reduced by 37.5 in PvP. Thank God. Soul Rend damage reduced by 17% in PvP. Yes. We noticed Havoc Demon Hunters overperforming in several facets of PvP, including personal survivability, burst damage, and overall DPS. We're taking action to reduce their effectiveness in these areas. Yes. Alright, they're aware of the Demon Hunter madness. Preservation Evoker. Mana regen reduced by 25%. Was overperforming compared to its contribution in PvE. We're adjusting this to bring it in line with the expected benefits, but we want this effect to remain a powerful option. Okay. So mana regen for preservation. Cool. Arcane. Siphon Storm's effectiveness reduced by 50%. I don't know what that is. It's a culprit for one-shot scenarios. Any arcane mages you guys can tell me. I don't know the names of the spells. Glacial Spike. Reduced Glacial Spike's damage increase from mastery icicles by 25% in PvP. This will reflect it in the tooltip. Wait, so this is good. Because they buffed Glacial earlier, and I said it was going to be too insane because I've already seen some crazy Glacials. So I guess they're changing the spell, buffing it, the baseline of it, and then reducing this one where they benefit from the mastery. Monk. Blackout Kick damage increased by 30% and Tiger Palm. Alright, so that's for both of them. I think that's just their filler, or their resource generator, right? So it's not too bad. As long as it's not the finisher. Rising Sun Kick now deals 12.5 additional in PvP, was 25. Offset the... Yeah, okay. I was gonna say, those PvE buffs for Monk would have been too much for Mistweaver, and the Fist Weaving spec would have just outperformed everything. Thunder Fist damage reduced by 40%. Okay. Skyreach increases crit by 30%, down from 50. Fists of Fury damage increased by 15. Windwalker Burst has continued to be above a level we're comfortable with. We're targeting Thunder Fist and Skyreach as they've been large contributors to this. We're also increasing their sustained. Okay, that's good. I mean, a lot of Windwalkers have complained that the playstyle was really just awful. Where you just have that crazy burst window, so they would stun you, and then everybody knows to react to the stun, pop a cooldown, or trinket, and escape. And then you wouldn't die to a Windwalker, and then their damage outside of that was pretty pitiful, so... That's good that they're addressing that. Flash healing increased by 30%, was 20. Okay, so priest, flash heal. Healing is increased by 35%. So holy buff. Serenity healing is also increased by 15. Yeah, holy priests were pretty terrible right now. So that's good. Holy received PvP reductions and casted healing effectiveness in previous patches that we are now feel are unnecessary and are reverting. Yeah. Well, that's because holy was busted before, so they tried to nerf it, and now they just over nerfed it with the new expansion, so they gotta revert some of that. Shadow Word Death reduced by 30% in PvP combat, was 20. Oh. Alright, so they're... Yeah, because Shadow Word Death was kind of a scary execute. Mind Blast damage reduced by 25% in PvP combat for Shadow only. And Mind Spike. Devouring Plague nerf by 25%. Vampiric Touch damage reduced by 5%. In PvP was increased by 10. Okay. Proc rate of Shadowy Insight has been reduced by 25%. Proc rate of Surge has been reduced. Shadow Priest has been widely overperforming, so we're looking to offset recent PvE buffs to them and reduce their power defensively through changes to Focus Will. We're also reducing their instant proc damage availability, as we feel Shadow Priest do not have to hardcast spells as often. Damn. Assassin improved Garrote damage bonus reduced by 40% in PvP. Thank God. Yes. Iron Wire damage reduction now has a PvP duration of 4. Was baseline 8. Okay. Assassin spread and single target Garrote pressure has been very high. Yes. We targeted this by decreasing the effectiveness of improved Garrote. Iron Wire's damage reduction effect has also felt too potent to us. Yes. Their dot damage was disgusting. Demo. Demonic Strength unleashes a Fellstorm that deals 150% increased damage in PvP combat. Was 400%. Oh, they really hit the Blade Storm. Damn. Demon Fire damage increased by 75% though. Oh. So what is that? The Tyrant, right? That's the Tyrant hits, I'm pretty sure. Because because Demon Bolt. I always get it confused with Demon Bolt, so that's gonna be the Tyrant. So man, the Tyrant build might actually be legit. Tyrant build. I wonder what if we actually even spec out of... If we spec out of the big spin and go for like bombers. I used to play bombers back in the day. 30-second cooldown. The only thing is it costs 2 shards, which could be a little awkward. Interesting. And then Dreadbite damage also reduced by 10%. Oof. The dreads were a big portion of the damage, so that's gonna kind of suck. We feel Demonic Strength could be a difficult spell to notice, and it has little counterplay. I mean, that's not true. I feel like the counterplay to that, there's much more counterplay compared to other things in the game, like Demon Hunter. Like, all you do is crowd control the pet, root the pet. If the Blade Storm had started spinning, and if you were away from it, it wouldn't hit you also. So, I don't know. I kind of feel like them saying there's little counterplay. Because imagine if the pet was immune to all crowd control during the spin, then I'd understand it, because then it'd be the same as, like, a warrior's blade storm, but let's sure nerf it, but why put this wording that there's little counterplay? I mean, that's a lie. Compared to the tyrant, why? The tyrant because you can interrupt it? Yeah. Dude, just crowd control the pet. It blade storms and you can root it, you could fear it. That's what I do. I mean, I howl it. I mean, that's just silly to say there's no counterplay, but okay. Whatever. We're looking to adjust Demo's burst sources while aiming to keep them at the same relative power. We also want to slightly reduce Demo's overall pressure by targeting Dreadbite. Was their overall pressure really that crazy though? Like an Affliction Lock would have more pressure than a Demo Lock. Like, yeah, Dreadbite was all of its damage, but to say that their overall pressure was too high, I don't know, man. I guess the required efforts to generate the pressure as Demo was a little bit less than Affliction. Like Affliction, you really had to put in the effort and you would surpass Demo's damage. Demo is just easy. You just push the button, the dreads just go ham. But they could get crowd controls and stuff, so I don't know. I feel like that's kind of silly. I would want Demo to have more overall pressure, less burst, and more overall pressure. I don't really like the burst windows with Demo because everyone just knows, oh, all the pets come out. Let's crowd control the pets. I'd rather just have more consistency. And that's why a lot of people were kind of pushing towards the Doom build, because they wanted more consistency, because everyone just crowd controls all the pets. So you buff the damage. I mean, everyone's just going to know to stop the pet, and then Demo's going to have terrible pressure outside of that. But anyways, all right. Last up, we got Warrior. Defensive stance now reduces damage done by 15%. So they're going to have a little bit more damage they're able to do while D stance is up. It's adjusted to address damage issues we no longer feel are present for warriors. We're increasing damage done in defensive stance to help increase their overall offensive pressure without affecting them defensively. Okay. Well, I mean, overall, there was a good amount of changes here, I think. I would say the Demon Hunter ones were definitely needed. So it's nice that they've tackled the Demon Hunter problem. But I don't think I'm that worried about Lock. I mean, we got Affliction buffs. Baseline Affliction buffs, they nerfed the UA backlash damage, but I mean, I guess it's whatever. That UA backlash damage was pretty hilarious, getting 180k UA dispels, and it was just RNG, kill someone at 50%. Was pretty hilarious. So yeah, they tackled the Demon Hunter survivability and also the damage a bit, which is nice. So that'll help out a ton. I wish they would have touched on Death Knights though. I'm actually surprised to see they did not do any Unholy Death Knight changes. Because spell warding needs to be addressed, like ASAP. It is the most awful, miserable experience that you could ever witness probably in Arena as a caster. So unpleasant. Like, you don't even want to attack the DH, or the Death Knight, to proc the spell warding on yourself. It's so frustrating to have your casts reduced, and they're just immune to death to a caster because of how tanky they are with the spell warding. So that needs to be addressed. It reminds me of back in MOP when Demo had the AoE aura, Curse of Enfeeblement, where you just put the buff up, and then everybody within the radius of the Demo lock had Curse of Weakness and Curse of Tongues on them permanently until the aura went away, and it just destroyed everybody's gameplay and made it feel miserable, and they had to just cancel that and revert the change. But now they let DKs just run havoc and have this spell warding, which just destroys all casters' play experience. I can't stand it. I'd probably be happy with them just taking out all of the cast speed reductions. Because for casters, the first seasons where our haste is the lowest, it's miserable. Like, nobody wants to play a caster right now because it's a more fun experience to be a Demon Hunter or a Death Knight. Because you don't have to worry about cast speed reductions. So those spells have such higher value compared to later on. It's really frustrating. Nerf Death Strike instead of spell. Yeah, I don't like nerfing Death Strike. I feel like Death Strike is a good trade-off. The Death Knight has to make the decision. Do I want to spend my resource to instead of otherwise do damage, to do a little bit of damage but also heal me? It requires effort and the thought process of making a decision. Whereas spell warding, there's no decision to be made. It's auto. It plays the game for you. Why not nerf the automation? That's what they should have done. Nerf automation instead of nerfing Death Strike. Reward them for making the decision to use Death Strike or not. That's what I find silly. And their defensives were already weak against physical damage dealers. So why just make it worse on them? And then they're too strong against casters. Silly.